Alright guys, how's it going? Many of you have emailed me today to ask where my latest video, A Flawed PC Perspective, has gone. And the answer to that is I have made it private. And in this video, I'll explain why I've taken that decision. For those of you that saw the video before it went private, I covered principles of ethical journalism, gave examples of what that meant, before moving on to cover the technology website PC Perspective, who I felt were not following ethical practices. However, Ryan Shrout, the owner of PC Perspective, emailed me with one or two queries and a request, as well as his right to reply to my video. And there's been some confusion over this whole right to reply thing, so I'm going to start with that and explain exactly how this should work. Ryan started off by saying he saw my video posted on January the 25th about himself, Alan Malventano, PC Perspective and Shrout Research. While I think your intentions are earnest, I have some serious concerns about the accusations that are made and the facts of your story. First, I think it is worth noting again that creating this kind of content without requesting input from the accused seems incredibly inflammatory and unfair. As you point out the Code of Ethics of Journalism many times in your video, there are multiple references to right to reply that should exist during or at the same time, and this opportunity was not given to us. However, the European Council's right to reply in the new media environment, adopted by the Committee of Ministers on the 15th of December 2004, states the following. Number 1, scope of the right of reply. So any natural or legal person, irrespective of nationality or residence, should be given a right of reply or an equivalent remedy, offering a possibility to react to any information in the media, presenting inaccurate facts about him or her, and which affect his/her personal rights. But the interesting part is number 2, promptness. As Ryan stated that his right to reply should exist during or at the same time of the launch of the video or article. But in actual fact, what happens is Ryan should contact me. The request for a reply should be addressed to the medium concerned, i.e. myself, within a reasonably short time from the publication of the contested information. After which the medium in question, myself, should make the reply public without undue delay. So this is the European Council resolution. I had no requirement, legally or ethically, to contact anyone in the video prior to release. It is their responsibility to contact me. All I have to do is make the reply public without undue delay. You might wonder why that's the case. Surely it would be better to contact the person or publication before publishing your video or article. But the likely reason for this, somebody who has damning information on another person or business goes to that person or business with his information and then is either coerced or bribed into not releasing that information. Now getting back to Ryan, and he says, second, and for me the most important point here was the impact of my commentary, true or not, has the potential to cause harm to him, his team and his family. Having already received pictures of my home and my address from viewers of your video, and with the recent events that have occurred around the world, I am now genuinely concerned about the safety of my family. Also in that code of ethics is a section on humanity. Journalists should do no harm. What we publish or broadcast may be hurtful, but we should be aware of the impact of our words and images on the lives of others. First of all, I am in no way responsible for what idiots on the internet do. And being concerned for one's family would be used as a defence every single time. Just let me add right now though, that I simply would not be surprised. However, from my point of view, I cannot allow the possibility of this to change my decisions or even change the video content. Simply put, no journalism would ever get done if we allowed that to happen. But on the flip side, after receiving this email from Ryan, I emailed him back with the offer of unpublishing the video. However, Ryan then emailed me back to state that it was already being shared across social media and that the link was effectively out there and could not be taken back, at which point I agreed the only responsible course of action was to make the video private. Now in Ryan's reply he covered a lot of ground. As you can see here, there is simply no way I can go over all of this. And in fact, back with the right of reply resolution, down at number 5, exceptions. By way of exception, national law or practice may provide that the request for a reply may be refused by the medium in question in the following cases. And first of all is if the length of the reply exceeds what is necessary to correct the contested information, and then if the reply is not limited to a correction of the facts challenged. And in both cases here, I would have been justified in refusing the right of reply. But I'm not going to do that. Instead, I will take a look at what Ryan suggested at the end of his email. If you still have to have a video calling us out for our practices, I obviously can't stop you. but I would request that you fix the factual errors in your video. And he continues with, that includes the FreeSync story. So that's the one I'll start with. Now Ryan said that the crux of my argument is that our team, including Alan and myself, determined that FreeSync was the cause of the ghosting we saw on the display, though others indicated it was not a result of FreeSync, but rather the panel or integration itself. Our assertion at the time would have been that because FreeSync was certification brand of this display, that in the end, regardless of the root technical cause, AMD and the FreeSync team were ultimately responsible. And finishes with, our original story even details our inability to nail down the root cause of the problem. Now, this was the part that I highlighted in the video, where I talked about how PC Perspective appeared to have had information coming from Nvidia which led them to their conclusion that FreeSync was at fault. But Ryan continued that you then bring up the fact that after we did discover that a firmware fix occurred after our review, we posted a completely new article 4 months after our review recognising the changes and improvements. There is a fair point to be made that we should have gone back to the original story and updated it with links to the new story. However, Ryan believes that by doing the follow-up story and posting it in the same channels as the original, the main site, video, Twitter, etc., they believe that they did due diligence here. He then noted that any claims we made in comments or forums that panels in the competing G-Sync and FreeSync monitors were identical are false and our error. But in our original story, where articles are edited and curated, we stated clearly that they shared the same specifications. Before finishing with, should comments and forum posts have been more accurate? Yes. Now, the second point of contention was my assertion that PC Perspective don't work with AMD prior to posting stories, including the ping testing and the RX 480 power testing. PC Perspective maintained that they did in fact work with AMD prior to posting those stories, and I will take that at face value. However, the point here was, of course, the comparison between these tests and other testing which was not performed. As I mentioned, Nvidia's Pascal DPC latency issue was one of those tests, and also the fact that PC Perspective seemed more keen to work with Intel in private, concerning their change in policy to Coffee Lake's Turbo, and also the fact that PC Perspective didn't note anything about this in their Coffee Lake review. The point I made here was quite clear. It wasn't about PC Perspective not working with AMD. Of course they worked with AMD on various issues, and while I do concede that they worked with AMD prior to these two articles, what actually mattered was what PC Perspective went ahead with. Right, so next up is the affiliate link on AMD's website. As a refresher, Ryan Smith over at AnandTech discovered a PC Perspective Amazon affiliate link tied to AMD's Radeon Pro Vega Frontier Liquid Edition. You can see down the bottom here, tag equals PC pair, and my analysis of that was it was almost impossible to believe. And I asserted that PC Perspective almost certainly made a lot of money out of this link, as they would have been paid around 4 or 5% commission for every single sale. Ryan, however, clarified that the first time he was aware of that was when AnandTech's Ryan Smith tweeted the link and screenshot. He never had any conversation with anyone at AMD about including it, or why it was even there. It wasn't something we asked for, expected, or benefited from. And this is pretty interesting. A search of their affiliate data from July through today shows exactly 0 Vega Frontier Edition cards sold on their account, from links on our articles or from AMD's website. So I am willing to accept that, and it looks like AMD has just made a crazy error, which PC Perspective almost certainly did benefit from, in fact. And for those of you that don't know, let me explain how the Amazon.com affiliate works. Right, so basically speaking, I have a bunch of Amazon links for every country in all of my video descriptions. So whether you click on an item through my shop or one of these links, or if my affiliate links are anywhere at all, as soon as you click on that, for example, let's go to Germany. We can see my German affiliate tag up here. So what happened there was you got a 24-hour cookie placed on your PC. So if you now just shut down your browser and then even go back to Amazon normally by, say, typing in the address in the address bar, and then you decide to, say, buy a pair of shoes or a jumper. So long as you do that, then I will still get the commission on these items. It doesn't even need to be computer parts. Anything at all you buy within that 24 hours, I will get that commission. After 24 hours, the cookie will expire, or more likely it will be overwritten by somebody else's cookie, and instead of me getting the commission, they will get it. So that's how that works. So while I agree with PC Perspective that this is not something they asked for or expected, they probably did benefit from it. The only difference is the people who clicked on this link didn't buy any Vega Frontier Edition cards. Given the size of AMD and the number of hits that this page got, it's almost certain that PC Perspective did benefit from this. How much money that was, I simply don't know. Only PC Perspective can know if they made more money during those months than normal. But hopefully that clarifies all of that up. Now next up, and probably most importantly, is that Ryan believes that there were differences between the 900p white paper and the review. Ryan starts by saying that I claimed that their test suite for the 900p review on PC Perspective was created for the Intel work done with Shrout Research, but this is what I actually said. Paid by Intel to write a white paper on these Optane drives, at which point the author Alan Malventano decides to go the extra mile and write a custom test suite for the paper. Oh sorry, for the review. As you can see there, this is what PC Perspective have stated themselves in their review, and I was simply going with that. But Ryan continues with, the first review to use Alan's latency percentage performance testing methodology was with the launch of the Samsung 960 EVO in November of 2016, and research of this new testing process was first shown with the 950 Pro review in October of 2015. Again, the point here was, Alan himself noted that they were using a brand new test suite for the Optane review. I'm pretty sure it was in development long before then, and I will believe them when they say that the latency percentile part of it was used previously. But I think it's fair to say that that's a bit of a weak case, especially given what they had stated themselves. But Ryan continues, furthermore, the testing that was showcased in the Shrout Research 900p white paper and the review differ greatly. You assert that the review on PC Perspective is simply a copy of the testing and work done on the research side. However, looking at the paper and the review shows that isn't the case. What he means is there were more benchmarks used in the white paper that did not make the review. And he ends that part with, the data presented in the review is based on Alan's custom testing capabilities, of which only 2 small results are part of the white paper. So okay, I will accept that. There are results in the white paper that are in the review. So I'm happy to go along with that for now. Now Ryan continues that the testing was done in different systems as well. The review data was done on the review bench, and the Shrout Research data was done on an Intel configured platform. The review on PC Pair used retail drives. The testing for Shrout Research was using engineering samples. And that's a point that doesn't really matter. Even more, the performance of the data results that do overlap are actually lower on the review on PC Perspective, as they were tested on a platform that was not Intel configured. And he concludes that the results on PC Perspective and Shrout Research are not copies. However, Ryan does continue with, the concern over using hardware and devices received through Shrout Research arrangements for the review on PC Perspective is valid. Honestly, they didn't see the harm at the time to include the second capacity of the 900p in our review, as it presented more information to the reader. And while more information is great, fact here is, this was not a review sample. This was an Optane SSD used in the review without any declaration of a potential conflict of interest. But Ryan continues with, was this unfair to others in the media? Probably. And have we seen numerous other exclusives come to websites, including us, over the years that weren't fair to the media? Yes. And that is pretty much it for the Optane part of the review. Apart from 2 cases, the results weren't identical, but the real problem here is the lack of disclosure. Now to finish this one off, I'm going to go through the email chain between Ryan and myself. Ryan has already responded to this on Reddit, and as you can see, it was pretty massive. But at the end, he also included the emails, and I'd like to take a chance to go through what happened here. First of all, Ryan sent an email on Friday afternoon. I got back to him a few hours later. I was actually at the dentist, and I should have been out all weekend, as I was supposed to be celebrating my sister's birthday today. I told him I could be able to talk on Monday, but if he had a request that needs dealing with sooner, feel free to shoot it to me, and obviously I'll listen. And this was when I first learned about Ryan being doxxed. And like I said, that is an easy defence to make, and that is not my fault. When I saw this, I was beginning to feel like Ryan has come here and he is attempting to manipulate me. But he said he would greatly appreciate some assistance in controlling the situation. And like I said, I was willing to unlist the video until it all blew over. That was my offer to him. But I also made it clear that I would not be manipulated by him, and that he should consider my offer to unlist the video as a final chance of avoiding a real escalation. But as you know, Ryan got back to me and said, could I make it private, because that would be more appropriate. But this next part of the email was for me altogether much more sinister. I plan to send you my responses and comments in private or on a call in order to address your questions and concerns in a way that does not endanger anyone's family. This can be an on-the-record conversation, but the goal is to discuss in private, to understand each other's points without putting anyone else at risk. Now, when you grow up in the west of Scotland, you become very good at analysing threats, and this was how I analysed it. Ryan already told me that he felt threatened, but now he's talking about endangering anyone's family, not his own, anyone's, and then later on without putting anyone else at risk. Maybe I'm just overly paranoid, but reading between the lines, I took that as a threat. But I told him I'll make the video private for now, and I'll also write a tweet, and we'll talk later. So a lot later, I got in contact with him again and said, Ryan, 1 more hour then the video goes public again. He told me he would follow up with his comments today, and I reminded him of that fact. Remember that the end of day in Kentucky means that it is very late in Scotland, and I just wanted this done and over with. And afterwards, what you've just saw, was the massive rundown of the points which Ryan wanted to clarify. To which I said, "Thanks Ryan, I feel that you've raised some valid points, however it is not nearly enough for me to keep the video private." Specifically, he had failed to address the major points regarding conflict of interest and also the FreeSync versus G-Sync ghosting comparison, both of which had still not been rectified. And at this point again, I pointed out the whole thing about accountability. So Ryan got back and said to me, "Can you expand for me the points about the comparison story and video that you believe are still concerning?" To which I again explained, not rectifying his errors with the FreeSync video, and the Optane review still looks exactly the same. That is, there was no disclosure. I also point out here that when those changes are complete, it would likely be beneficial to point them out on social media, and that he will gain far more from those two small actions than his current course ever will. And by that I meant he would regain the respect from his viewers. Ryan got back to me very quickly and said, honestly, he was planning to include links and updates, but he didn't want to make it look like he was doing something manipulative. And he then says, will you keep the video up even if those edits occur? What about your claims of correcting content that is known to be incorrect, incomplete, inaccurate? That seems to violate the rule, does it not, with all the information you have had sent your way? No, it does not violate the rule. I made the decision to make the video private. I offered to do this for Ryan in order to try and calm down the situation. For that, I expected him to at least show some kind of accountability and actually prove that he was sorry for these mistakes. I then pointed out to him that this move of making the video private basically meant I have spent the past 6 hours, which in actual fact has now been a day and a half, fighting my own viewers because of that decision. A decision I made to protect Ryan was giving me a huge amount of grief. As I said, I was hoping for a real show of accountability, and this is what your readers want to see too. Please just apologise, Ryan. Make a statement, show that you've removed or changed the title of the FreeSync video, and update your Optane review. 3 simple things is all I wanted. I promised him that I would not gloat, and in fact I would be more likely to applaud him for it. And if that was done by the time I woke tomorrow, then I would put the video private again. This was at 1:30 in the morning, and I had dealt with this the entire day. So Ryan got back to me the next day and said, it's done. He was disappointed that you would repost the video even after the concerns he brought up about some of the rash notes and emails he received. By this point, I was immune to this whole doxing thing because he had played that card so many times. But he gave the link to the video and updated story, and this is what it now looks like. It still says FreeSync versus G-Sync ghosting comparison. Basically what he's done is this. Uploaded link in the description, linking to Alan's review of the BenQ with the firmware update. Now legally, I guess he's right, because I did say that he only had to remove or change the title. Didn't specify that he should have removed G-Sync and FreeSync. However, I did mention that in my video, and Ryan fine well knows that people watching this, they're not gonna bother looking in the description for the update. All they are gonna see is FreeSync versus G-Sync ghosting comparison. And at the very end of the Optane review, he has added a disclaimer, and he then said that he would like to post a thread on Reddit to bring up the points. So I woke up this morning, thanked him for that, and said I decided to skip the party today and we'll get a video out on this topic and to clarify what happens next so that this can be avoided in future. And I also decided to put the video private at the same time. The second time that I basically chose to put the video private at my own behest, because Ryan clearly did not do as I asked. I asked him to apologise, to make a statement, to show that he has removed and changed the title of the FreeSync video, and to update his Optane review. As we saw, he did update the Optane review, and yes, he did change the title of the FreeSync video. However, as we saw, there is simply no spirit of accountability here. When I saw this, I knew that he would never be sincere about his mistakes. With his unwillingness to do the right thing here, I just find it sad. Ryan reached out to me to help him, and that's what I tried to do. All I asked from him was the accountability of an ethical journalist. What do you think? Does that look accountable to you? But worst of all, there's been no apology to anybody. So what started off as a series of emails back and forth with Ryan claiming that his plan was to send his responses and comments in private in order to address my questions and concerns in a way that does not endanger anyone's family, and that the goal was to discuss in private to understand each other's points without putting anyone else at risk, ended with him showing the entire email chain on his response, and at no point did he advise me of his intention to make these public, which is something I find quite abysmal, in fact. And to make it worse, he actually posted this on R Hardware, a subreddit which has banned all of my videos. And with that done, I basically have no alternative but to yet again, yep, you got it, I need to make the video public. I'm done with this now. I will always give somebody a second chance, and Ryan got more than 2 chances, but I will not be strung along here any longer being treated like a fool. And I have been a fool here because yet again I have fallen for my crazy belief that people can genuinely wish to make up for their mistakes and do the right thing. This is why I offered to help Ryan out, and how I gave him a second chance which he failed to take seriously. So for the many of you who desperately want me to republish the video, your wish has been granted. I don't feel good about this, and I have handled this extremely poorly. But all of these mistakes I made during the past 2 days, I will not make them again. I'll catch you later, guys.